Yes,
Blog Talk Radio.
You know what time it is. Time to hang out with Mr. Coop. With Mr. Coop, with Mr. Coop, with Mr. Coop, the latest scoop. From Mr. Coop, from Mr. Coop, from Mr. Coop, Mr. Coop. With Mr. Coop, with Mr. Coop, with Mr. Coop, the latest scoop. From Mr. Coop, from Mr. Coop, yeah.
Welcome to the Big Scoop with Coop. I'm your host, Coop. Today, guys, Season 4 is still going strong. So much going on in Season 4. Make sure you do go to the website, www.scoopwithcoop.com. You can actually check out all of Season 1 all the way up to now for Season 4 episodes on the Big Scoop with Coop. A lot of stars came on that you know about, some that you don't know about that was introduced to you for the first time ever. So make sure you actually go check that out, guys. Today's guest, wow. Where do I actually start with this? Well, today's guest, if you're into the music industry, you love music, you love doing it all, you will love this show right here for today. He has actually been noticed by MTV. He's been noticed by so many different spectrums. He is actually, he came through, he's actually done big things in the music industry. I mean, even up to this day, he is well known around. So, guys, I'm going to give him about a minute or two before I even introduce who it is. My guest today, he actually writes, produces, he does it all. And the good thing is, with his music, he keeps it profanity free. But his beats are so hot, it'll make you want to jump out there and just do your thing at the same time. Guys, you know what? That's enough about me, but I'm going to bring on our guest today, the one, the only. Ladies and gentlemen, Earl, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much. First and foremost, to God be the glory for this opportunity. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yes, anytime. It is great to actually have you on this show. People are listening worldwide right now, and they're ready to learn about you, and also your fans is listening right now. Big shout-outs to your fans also. If it wasn't for them, you know, it wouldn't be none of you. It wouldn't be me. It wouldn't be none of us, guys. So big shout-outs to your fans also. Earl, how your day been going today, man?
Hey, I'm blessed. I can't complain. How about yourself?
Man, it is going great. It is definitely going great. And everybody that's listening right now, you probably want to know why I call him Earl. You will find out later on the show the reason why he is actually called Earl. But just to let you know, Earl, on this show, we do talk about how you started in your career, your success, give advice on how to actually get into your career, and much more. So let's go on and start this thing off. When did you first realize that you wanted to go into the music industry?
I first, well, it was revealed to me by God that music was my passion, November 9th, 2014. But I would say about a year or so leading up to that, I started to really realize that music was something different than anything that I'd ever tried to do or wanted to do in my life. And when I felt that burning in my bones, obviously I found out the reason why. It's because this is what God's made me to do. So, that's when I really started to feel that draw to it.
Man, to God be the glory on that world. It's good that you actually took the talents that God gave you and you blessed the world from them hearing you vocally, hearing you when they're going through the beats and everything, man. And that's how you know it's true passion, when, you know, the Lord has led you down this path to actually take on the music industry and look at you now. I mean, even MTV has noticed you, but we're going to talk about that later on also. Now, growing up, though, what genre of music did you enjoy listening to the most?
I listen to a little bit of everything. My mother's always been really big into listening to some old school hip hop and things like Earth, Wind and Fire. Even my father listening to Journey, Bad Company, Phil Collins. So it was a wide range of things, but it was a good mesh of all of it kind of coming together that I was able to kind of cultivate and be able to absorb. So,
wow, and you know what? And that's a blessing towards you also, because you've actually had, you know, a taste of all of this music. And I'm talking about that true music from EWF, like you just mentioned, all the way up to old school hip hop. I mean, I'm an old school fan. I am 36 years old, so the world just found out my age. But I'm an 80s baby. I'm an 80s baby, and, you know, I grew up on that music. I grew up on Eric B. and Rakim, Run DMC. I can keep on naming. I mean, even Hammer, all that stuff, Kid and Play. I can keep going with this, but I'm not going to do that to you guys. Cool G Rap, I had to throw one more out there. But that's good that you actually got the flavor of all this music, and you're taking it, and you know your history. I mean, and that's the thing, in my opinion, though. I feel that people that really don't know their history in music, it's kind of hard for them to progress, because they just say, okay, I hear the new school commercial hip hop, or I hear R&B, I hear reggae, I hear country, alternative. I can keep naming, and they think that they can just copy the next person that just came out 5 years ago. So congratulations on that, Earl. You're doing big things, man. Continue to do it.
Hey, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, what artists actually influenced you in your career, since I actually just started talking about that?
Once again, even those artists that I mentioned, there's some modern artists, I guess, that I could say that kind of influence in a way would be like guys like Bruno Mars, even like Carrie Underwood, and not necessarily just their musical content. It's kind of more of the roots of who they are, and more their personality and messages, and maybe comeback stories and things like that. I think that it's beautiful to be inspired by all sorts of music and all sorts of artists, but I also think it's most important to stay true to yourself, and not necessarily it's not necessarily a bad thing to sample things and to want to mimic some things, but I think being who you are and creatively not being afraid to step out and do something different, I think that's beautiful. So I don't try to mimic any artist, but as far as being inspired, oh man, the list goes on and on. Ellie Goulding, like I said, Earth, Wind & Fire, Timex Social Club, Phil Collins, Journey, Bad Company, the Eagles. There's so many artists. It's just such a beautiful world of music that it's hard to narrow that down.
So true about that, and and that was so broad of a question right there, because, like you said, you grew up listening to music, and then to the age you are today, hearing new school, hearing old school, hearing it mixed together when they play it on the radio, XM radio, or your own personal collection. I really believe, though, Earl, that you can listen to old school and learn something new. You can listen to new school and learn something new, and you can take the skills that you hear and you can apply it to your own and still make your own out of it at the same time. And that's one thing I want to say. You are you're good. I've heard you, and I enjoy. I really enjoy. So big shout out.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Now, Earl, let me ask you this: do you feel like it's easier or harder to get into the music industry now compared to 10 years ago?
Well, I believe with God, anything's possible. And when I think in terms of getting into the music industry and what the world defines success as, obviously, I hope and pray that God makes this my career and that, I have great success and I'm well known. If I never made a dime at it, I would still do it, because it's about, first and foremost, using what God set me out to do and fulfilling my call. But it's my passion. This is my passion. But as far as, it being more difficult or less difficult, I think it really comes down to the music industry allowing artists to be who they are. I think a lot of times, even not just in music, but in a lot of things, it's like if you're not already somebody or you're not mimicking what someone else is doing, it's less appealing. Or if your subject matter doesn't have X amount of, appeal to it from a worldly standard, then you're kind of overlooked, or you're put in a box of being, just this type of artist. So I think that it's difficult in that regard. It's difficult to be original. It's difficult to stay true to who you are. But obviously God has made us all unique. Dr. Tony Evans says all the time, God's already got one of them, so why would you want to be somebody else, And to me, that's so true. I just want to be true to myself, and I'll go wherever God is going to take this, and there's no one or no industry that can stop it.
That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And ladies and gentlemen that's listening around the world right now, I don't know what your religion is or anything like that, but I'm telling you what Earl just said was 100% true, because if it's in God's will, it's going to happen for you, and there's no stopping it. I mean, I'm sorry if you don't believe, but I'm just telling you what I believe. And if it's in His will, it's for yours. It's going to be your way. It's going to be His way. Excuse me. If it's His will, you will get the blessing from it, and you will actually be able to use your talents and your vocals and your skills, whatever you're doing in life, regardless if it's the music industry, movie industry, hard worker, whatever you do, man, put God first and watch what happens. So, Chris, man, you're really, I mean, the scene that you're in right now, for you, I don't want to say just starting, because you've made noise in this industry and people are listening. Now, I want to bring up something real quick, and hopefully you wouldn't mind revealing this to the world. Now, everybody's hearing me call you Earl. They're not hearing a first name. They're not hearing a last name. They're hearing Earl. Can you tell everybody what Earl stands for?
Sure. Earl is actually my middle name from birth, which is close to me. But when God revealed this to me in November, it became an acronym, and it stands for Existence After Real Love. God is the definition of love, and once you've experienced God's love, He gives you your sense of existence and your purpose and your connection to your spiritual gift. And like I said, I didn't feel like I was alive until I was 31 years old. I didn't feel like I had a purpose. Not that I hated my life or anything like that, but when you're living not seeking God first in your purpose, there's just not that connection. And until this happened, I didn't write my true first song until this happened, and that's that connection. So it stands for Existence After Real Love. Once God revealed that to me, and I experienced what it was like to have that true connection and relationship with the Lord, that's when I felt like, hey, I'm here for a purpose, and I know what it is.
Nice. Very nice. Now, do you mind if I continue to call you Earl, or do you want to use
Earl? Absolutely. Go for it.
All right. Now, Earl, I got to say this. I can tell that you are a true believer in God, and God has blessed your life. You just said you didn't know your purpose until you were 31 years old. But you know what, Earl? Regardless of what age you learned your purpose, the thing is God divined it in your life. And once again, look what you're doing now. I mean, you're doing so much. I mean, to the point where you became artists to watch, and we're gonna talk about that in a minute also. But you're doing things. Do you even sit down, and does it ever hit you in the head and say, "Wow, the Lord has really blessed me"? I mean, is it still surreal to you what you're doing right now?
Sure. I feel like when you spend that personal time with the Lord, first I try to reflect on, His glory first. But yeah, you have to, sometimes you have to slow down and you have to sit down and you got to take some time where you just reflect and say, man, like, not because I earned it or because of how great I am, but how great my God is. Like, look at the things that He's made so clear to me. Look at the specific signs that He's given me. Look at the confirmations that He's given me. Look at all the things that He's done only by His hands. And something in my music, let alone my life, in everyday life, but in music, I want it to be very clear that I can't do this on my own. This isn't anything that is because of me. It's greater than me. It's about God first, and it's only through Him that I'm able to do this. He gave me this ability, and let alone being so thankful for my salvation. So thankful for His protection and eternal life and all of these things. But I think it's so cool that He goes above and beyond and gives us a passion with a purpose. And regardless of what your passion is, you're equally as important to anybody you see on that television, anybody you hear on that radio, anybody you see on that movie screen. Your passion is just as important, and if you don't do it, it won't be done. And for me, just, God revealing that to me, this is what I was put here to do, and seeing how He's brought me through all these things and made things so clear. I'm so imperfect, but thank God He uses imperfect people for His perfect plan, and through my music, I just always wanted to be clear, man. It's not because of me, it's because of God. And I want to give Him, He goes above and beyond. I want to give Him the glory through my music first. That's what He gave it to me for. I always want to remain humble in that sense, and I always want to remain humble no matter where He takes it, to know that every person I see, regardless of what their passion is, just as important, and that's beautiful.
Nice. And, you couldn't put it no better way than that. People that's listening right now, you have to feel what Earl is saying. I know I am right now because, he has me in awe about this situation. This is nothing that me and him went over or anything like that. This is something that's natural that's coming right out of Earl, that he's actually telling you how he actually done this. It wasn't him. It was the Lord. Now, Earl, there's something that you said earlier when you was 31, you found your passion, you found your first song and everything. Talking about your music, how did you come up with Fire the Fuse?
Fire the Fuse, the instrumental for Fire the Fuse, and I make sure I give something that I think is also amazing in all art forms, but in the music industry, is also feeding the industry. Some instrumentals I will do, some instrumentals I'll purchase. I think that's a way to kind of give back to that artist community, and Sound Park is responsible for that instrumental. I then remixed it. The whole song is actually it's a story of how society seems to be, and I'm not speaking on behalf of everyone, but a lot of society, social media, news, so on and so forth, is really quick to support negativity and want to do anything they can to try to prove it to be right. But when we talk about faith and things that have eternal value and eternal hope, it's like I talk about having the power of free will coals in the palm of your hand, and it's like these people want to light that fuse to try to abolish and destroy and diminish this foundation that God gives us, and wants to shoot that down. And I don't know why that people want to do that. It's like, if you hear something positive, why not try to dig deep to find out and to support that it is true and it has hope? Why are we so quick to, want to shoot down the positive things and abolish those positive things, but are so quick to build up and support negativity? And that was just weighing heavily on me, and the song explains that. And the whole layout of it was great because it's kind of more of a dance track, and it's easily absorbed. But when you hear the chorus, it says, "I know where I'm going when it's over," and that's a gut check. That's a serious question, and I kind of thought that would, I don't really think through the whole process. I go with what I feel, which is, by God's hands alone. But that whole song is easily absorbed, but it has that gut check feel to it. And in the end, I talk about at the end of the song about the smoke clearing, and regardless of what we try to do to diminish and abolish that foundation of faith, it's still staying strong, and God's still standing there with His arms open saying, "You know what? I'm still here."
Nice. That's deep. That's really deep, Earl. And that's nothing but the truth of what you're saying. It's nothing but the truth. And I'm glad that you actually put that message in the song. You know how they said, like, back in the, oh gosh, am I wrong about this? I hope I'm not. Back in the 60s and 50s, how they used to put subliminal messages in songs. Like, if you play it backwards, you'll hear stuff. With your music, you don't have to play nothing backwards. Just open your ears and listen. And, you're saying it right there And I mean, you're telling people at the same time, yes, it's a hot beat. Yes, you can dance to it, but don't forget the message that's in your music. And thank you for not making it subliminal. It's right there. They just have to listen. And it will hit you in the gut, like you said. It will hit you in the gut because you're sitting there dancing, you're enjoying yourself, but that's when the knowledge and the truth will kick in. And when that kicks in, you have no choice but to ask yourself, do you know where you're going? And, I mean, people, you need to answer that question yourself. I'm not trying to preach to nobody, but I'm just saying, that's a true message, and it's not subliminal. Earl asked you straight up, do you know where you're going? And that's only you can answer that question. So, Earl, thank you for not making that subliminal. Thank you.
Hey,
now,
thank you.
Yes, sir. Now, how did it feel to have MTV to consider you artist to watch?
It's, forgive me for, I'm not, I guess you could say I am very excited about it. I'm so thankful for the opportunity for them to consider me, to even put me on their database as being an artist. Obviously, there's multiple artists on there as I try to draw more traffic to their site and to get more people to recognize that. Obviously, more opportunity has potential to open up, and I do believe God can open any door that He wants to. And it's still in the early stages, but just to be able to be in their database, it's kind of surreal. It's kind of like, man, like this is really cool. And the one of the things that I think is so cool about it is, for me, being that I'm trying to put God first. People want to put me in this box of, okay, you're just going to do, you're going to be on Christian radio, or you'll be on Christian TV, or whatever the case may be. I know that weighs heavy on my heart when people say that, not in a negative sense, but because God's given me the call to break down that barrier. When we keep dividing music that has godly value with, and I hate to use this term, but with what we call secular music, or music that is regular radio music, if you will, and not in a competitive sense. Those artists are amazing artists. I'm not talking about any artist but myself. But when you think of that, and you think of those messages being displayed, or you think of like the MTV Awards, man, like if we could have the opportunity to stand up there and say, man, I'm only here by God's hands alone. We tend to assume that everybody knows who God is. Well, a lot of people know what society's made God out to be. And if you could have somebody that makes music that maybe played on the regular radio, or maybe an opportunity to perform at an MTV award shows and things like that, that could represent Christ through God working through me, it may plant like that seed-sized coal, which I've said in one of my songs, for God to fan the flame. And some of those people, my pastors always said, you heard the word, now go to the church. And I used to say, okay, Pastor, I get what you're saying. All right. But now, when this happened, I realized, man, that's what I'm supposed to do. Like when you Dr. Tony Evans talks about, your passion and your call, it has to have eternal value. And for me, that's what it is. The eternal value is sharing God's Christ-like perspective through all subject matters that you would hear on the radio. Not just you would hear in church, not just you would hear on Christian radio, but what you would hear on all radio, but giving a Christ-like perspective as to how men should be treated, women should be treated, we should treat one another, all different subject matters. And I just want to, I just know that God's called me to break down that barrier. So I'm in hopes that by having MTV, blessed me with the opportunity to have that opportunity to share on the database and try to draw traffic there, I hope that that's what it does,
And, I mean, that shouldn't be hard right there at all. And the reason why I'm saying that's not going to be hard, because God put you at MTV for a purpose and for a reason, like you said before. So things will happen. Trust me. I'm calling it out right now. Things will happen for you. And, Earl, when you see this happen, when you get to the MTV Awards and you say that, I hope this interview pops in your head in the middle of your speech, and you just stop for a second and he say, hey, oh, gosh, Coop said that happened. Watch.
I would love that.
Yes, sir. Now, for all the people that's just getting introduced to you right now, and for your fans that are listening right now, how can they all follow you or find you on social media?
Sure. First, the website is earlofficial.com. That's where you can find all my links to everything, all my social media, music, information, contact information, so on and so forth. On Instagram and Twitter, it's at Earl Artist. On Facebook, it's Earl. On mtv.com/artist to watch, it's Earl Official. So they can find everything through there. I do have 4 new releases on iTunes. Being that I'm not super up there yet, you search Earl, Fire the Fuse, Earl, Crush Diamonds, Earl, Release the Hold, and Earl, Restless. And you'll find my music on there as well. On iTunes, all digital media, you can find it on all that, Amazon, Google Play, Spotify, so on and so forth.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go find Earl's music. Follow him on social media. Go to the website. Go to iTunes, Spotify. Go to it all. I'm telling you, his career is blowing up, guys. Get the music. The music is hot. Trust me. Go get it. Follow him on social media so you can make sure you keep up with them. Hey, even MTV. Go to MTV. Look him up there, too. I mean, Earl is all over. So make sure you find him all over. Follow him. Follow his moves from where he's at now till he keeps getting higher and higher, guys. Make sure you do that. Follow him right now. Well, not right now. I want you to finish listening to the show. After the show, go follow him. Make sure. Now, Earl, what is your ultimate goal as an artist?
First and foremost is just to represent Christ. That's square one. But my mission statement, I think, would better sum up my goal. 1, I want people to know who Christ is. 2, I want them to know, He'll take your burdens away, and He does change your life when He then, resides in you through salvation. And 3, God's so awesome that He goes above and beyond and gives you a passion with a purpose. And mine happens to be music. But whether you know what your passion is and you're using it for selfish gain, use it for God's glory. Whether you know what your passion is and you're scared to pursue it, use it for God's glory. Whether you think that you don't have a passion with a purpose, I'm here to tell you God's uniquely made you and you have one. Seek Him and He'll reveal that to you. And through my music, I want to go as far as I can with this, as far as I can. I want to give 110%. And trust God to put me where I'll be. I would love to be on MTV Awards. I would love to be at award shows, iHeartRadio, so on and so forth, getting more and more recognition. And I just want to give 110%. Trust God to take me where I need to go and try to make it as popular as I can. And while representing Him and staying true to myself and creating music that I am. I'm never going to sell my soul for $1 or popularity. So I will stay true to myself first and foremost.
Earl, I got one thing to say to you, man. I will see you at the MTV Awards, and I'm ready to hear you on iHeartRadio. Definitely ready. So I'm calling it out right now. Ladies and gentlemen, before I even go there, if the owner of iHeartRadio is listening to this show right now, you need to check them out. Put them up there. You may say it's early, but trust me, it's worth doing. Make sure you do it. Now, Earl, I know you're a busy man, and I'm not going to hold you long, but what advice would you give any male or female that wants to get into the music industry as an artist?
Sure. Pray first, and then, stay true to yourself. Like I said, we're all so unique, and I think that's so beautiful, and I think that it's so important to stay true to who you are and make the music that represents you. Don't fall into anyone telling you have to create this kind of music in order for people to listen, or you've got to talk about these subject matters in order for people to listen. Just make the music that fills your bones with fire. And continue to do that, and don't ever let somebody persuade you one way or another. Stay true to yourself, and I'm telling you, you seek God first, you create that music that is you and represents you. I'm telling you, you can't go wrong, and I think that's most important. Don't veer off the path just to satisfy what people want to make you to be. God's already made you who He wants you to be. So be yourself, and I think that's most important. And that's probably the biggest motive advice that I can get underneath prayer. So
nice. Guys, you heard it here first on the Big Scoop with Coop. Earl has spoke the truth through this whole interview, man. Make sure, once again, you go find him on social media, find his music, do it all, man, because this guy is about to blow up bigger than he's blown up already. Earl, it was a pleasure to have you on the show. I would love to have you back in the future.
Thank you so much. To God be the glory. Thank you so much. I wish you nothing but success, and I would love to come back again whenever you'll have me. And thank you, everyone, for listening in. And without you guys, this wouldn't nearly be possible. Thank you so much.
That's what I'm talking about. Everybody, you have a good evening, and until the next time on the Big Scoop with Coop.
Thank you.